Okay, right, I'm just going to set the scene and I'm going to hand it over to these guys and add a bit as we go. The group was very similar to the castle have just explained. We identified a need to have a young people's group. And the slight difference was that we didn't necessarily want them to do something in particular, but we wanted them to respond to our collection in their own way. So looking at our world art collection and our contemporary exhibitions that we have, and seeing what interests them so that they can develop projects from there. We started off by putting through a few artists to sort of get their ideas flowing. And here's what sort of happened, really. So yeah, I did a bit of marketing to recruit them, and yeah, I'll hand over to you now. Who's next?
Hi. I just heard about it through the university, an email that was sent around UEA, and I was quite excited at the prospect of getting to do some art and creative, some sort of practical creative stuff outside of my class, which wasn't marked and graded or anything like that. So I was expecting, Stephanie and I were expecting quite different things from the group, and we didn't realise it was going to be so free that we could pretty much choose to do whatever we wanted. Yeah, and I was sort of expecting the more practical, hands-on art stuff.
Well, because I wasn't a student, I'd already graduated, I'd heard about it through a friend, and I was expecting more just any kind of involvement within the arts, like I say, not really practical, not theory, more theory and more learning about how museums were and learning about what the art industry was. And I did learn that, and we also learned that through practical, and what everyone else will talk about is what we developed on, and yeah, that's what we expected.
I think, just to comment from a gallery's perspective, what I expected from the group was to help them stimulate their ideas and their imagination, and then to have very much more of a concrete group that survived on their own, developing ideas, meeting regularly, and putting those into practice, and using me as an opportunity to find what they needed. So, the workshops.
Oh.
It's getting squishy.
Well, what we did was, first of all, to inspire us, we used the gallery and artists to come in, and storytellers. We had some really inspiring people. There was Eve, the folktale lady, who told us about folktales, and we had artists as well as people like Headsaw came, and that everyone found that really helpful. So they just kind of got us thinking about gallery, and that's where we left off to find our own ideas. So yeah.
Over the weeks we found that a number of themes kept cropping up, and which in themselves were all connected to each other, and these were memories, personal storytelling and home. And from each of the different workshops we did, we developed our own personal experiences and interpretations from them. For example, Eve, who is on the left-hand side of the picture, we looked at the idea of connections between personal objects and our backgrounds, which was really interesting because we're all from different parts of the country, so everyone had a different story to tell. And from this we found that using objects helped to open up experiences and past and personal experiences through using objects, so it made it easier to storytell.
Are you still on this one? Next one. Yeah.
And then from that, we started thinking about what we wanted to do with the collection, and we came up with this idea of a story map. It evolved from this idea of story quilts. And so we looked at the Sainsbury collection and said, okay, this is Lord Sainsbury's story, what are ours? So right now we're in the process of taking a floor plan and creating a, not quite life-size, but that will go into the space, and we can have people come in and just rearrange the collection using models of the figures and of the different artifacts and paintings even that are there.
We also had a period where we went around the Sainsbury Centre actually interacting with the objects themselves and trying to create a sort of dialogue where we were creating stories just from the objects themselves without any sort of preconceived notions. But as Stephanie and I found out, it's quite difficult. We're both art history students, so your knowledge often comes into it, and it was very difficult. There was a couple of examples. There was a club that I was looking at, and I was attempting, to look at this object just as it was, trying to create a, interesting story about it without looking at the label and everything, and how people respond to these objects as face value. And it ended up that it was actually a club, and that I'd made up this story that was incredibly close to what it was, which is typical. And it's just sort of working into that idea of looking at the collection as it is without, all these notions of what we know already in our knowledge as students and things.
And really applying the different stories, and we all bring our preconceptions to a gallery. So kind of asking you to look beyond the object and connect it to your life, and just kind of give it a new story that's personal to you.
Okay, alongside this we were offering the Arts Award, bronze and silver to start off with, of which some of these guys are doing. And I saw it as a great way, because we had quite a few university students, which was completely unexpected. After months and months of desperately trying to contact these students, they suddenly all came out of the woodwork for my group, which was great. But it was a great opportunity, and after talking to them about it, for them to be able to get actual professional development through the Arts Award, and not necessarily introducing them to a collection, but actually using what they already knew and applying it to practical experience that they could then accredit and use it to sort of further their career later on. So I find that it was really important, and that they're just starting to do that. So did you want to talk about that, Hannah, just quickly?
Yeah, I really like the project that we're doing as a group, but actually I find Arts Awards probably one of probably the most valuable thing I'm taking out of this whole experience of being connected to the Sainsbury Centre, because I kind of wanted to do art before I came to university, but I didn't, and I dropped it, and I thought this was quite an exciting way to bring it back and combine it with the subject which I'm doing, which is international development. And yeah, I'm just working on a project right now which is, I'm trying to find a creative way to sort of introduce people to ideas of global justice and poverty and things which I'm studying in my subject, but I always have to portray through academic essays and things like that. And so I really enjoy having someone like Emily who I can be accountable to, and who keeps me going on track and can help me, yeah. Whoa, sorry, what? I'm going too long.
Accountable for you.
No, but you're like, yeah, Emily sort of keeps us motivated in, yeah. And someone who you can show your work to and will give you feedback. And so, yeah, I think the Arts Award is great.
Well done. Okay, what's next? Who's doing that bit?
So, I mean, for me, it's great, very much like the students. I'm also a history of art undergraduate, and it's been really nice to be able to get back into a very sort of creative side of art, sort of unravel all the sort of intricate intellectual kind of investigations that I've had to do these last 3-4 years. And it's really nice as well for me, as an employee of the Sainsbury Centre, who often walks between the galleries and also doesn't take note of the art, to actually take a step back, have that time, have 2 hours to myself every week to actually look at the artefacts, just enjoy the space that I'm in, and make stories up and really sort of interact on a very personal level to the sort of works of art and the artefacts. It's been very nice. It's been very calming, particularly in the final year of university, where it's been a very manic time. But it's also very nice as well to be very creative without having these restrictions that I experienced in GCSE and A-level art, being able to do what you really, really want to do with that work of art and have a very personal relationship to each and every artefact that you come across. And that's nice because I think it's very difficult to not do that as somebody who studies art. I think you kind of realise that actually you can have a very set way you can be taught a very set way on how to approach and how to view artefacts and works of art.
So kind of what's up next for us is continuing to develop this map and actually create the objects. We're also hoping to work with it for World Storytellers Day, so that people can kind of just connect with other people that are there and talk about the different stories, and then hopefully present it one night at the late shift and bring in another storyteller to kind of get their feedback on it.
Okay. So yeah, so I'm going to be continuing to be there for them. We'll probably bring in more artists if they want to. And now they've got that idea of what they want to do, they'll be developing that and hopefully integrating it within our programme more. That's it. Thank you very much.